Hi, good evening, everyone.
Villa, resort or
All right, we will be starting in just 1 minute, waiting for more students to join. Chalo, let's begin. Ready? So I think we can start. So today is all about doing questions. I gave you one task in the live yesterday where I asked you to uh, find out questions which have appeared in the past year papers related to differentiability. Yes, I mentioned you. I asked you to do the same. I hope you have gone through the PYQs and you have tried figuring out the questions that have appeared in the past year papers for the topic of differentiability. Okay, so now today we will be doing questions. Just a second. Okay, more students have joined. Now we can start properly. ठीक है. So yesterday we learned about how to check differentiability. We talked about the difference question. We talked about how using the concept of limits I can check whether a function is differentiable or not differentiable. That's what we learned yesterday, and we also learned that differentiability implies continuity, but not the other way round. The continuity will always not imply differentiability. Okay. Now today I will be teaching you how to find derivatives, because when we talk about a function being differentiable, so what do we find? We find derivative only. What do we find? Find derivative. Okay. My students in the chat box, how many of you know how to find derivative? Just send me thumbs up. How many of you know how to find derivative? Waiting for your messages in chat box. No one? I've not got. Okay, Kavya has replied. Okay, Kavya. Still waiting. 12 students are there currently, which I can see. So, ठीक है. I think others are getting shy here to reply back. No worries. So now we will be learning how to find derivative. How to find derivative. So when I talk about just when I talk about derivative, I told you derivative means finding slope at particular point. Now, when I talk about particular point, this is C. For a linear function, slope is constant. Slope is constant, which means no matter at which point I am checking, the slope will remain the same. But when I talk about non-linear function, slope changes at every single point. Slope changes at every point. Okay, so that is why we will now be learning how do we find the slope. What are the formulas to find the slope for linear as well as non-linear functions? So I will be telling you the same for most prominent functions so that you can solve a lot of them. Okay, now moving on to the next. So derivative. So we will be first finding derivative. Now, before we start learning the formulas, I told you yesterday that what is the concept of derivative? How are we able to find derivative at a point, at a particular point? I mentioned that it is because tangent, the tangent at the point, the slope of the tangent, this black line is tangent, the red line is the curve. So the slope of the tangent and the curve at point P are equal. So I can very simply find the slope of the tangent, and that would give me the slope of the curve at point P. Now remember one thing here. There can be multiple cases of the tangent. Some will be very useful, some will not be useful. So I tell you two extreme cases. When I have horizontal tangent, that means parallel to x-axis. Parallel to x-axis. The another case is that of vertical tangent, which is parallel to y-axis. Parallel to y-axis, or you can say perpendicular to x-axis. Perpendicular to x-axis. Now, these two cases have very good importance. They are very highly important for mathematical analysis. They are highly important for mathematical analysis. बहुत important है ये points. How? So let's first see the horizontal tangent. I'm drawing a graph over here if you can see. Okay. Let's say that's how your function looks like. Something like this. Now understand what is happening. Over here, I have vertical tangent. You can clearly see. Here I have horizontal tangent. Here as well, I have horizontal tangent. ठीक है, what is there? यहाँ पे I have vertical tangent. यहाँ पे I have horizontal tangent. Here as well, I have horizontal tangent. Now, what do we mean by slope? I told you. कि slope tells you, derivative tells you rate in change of one variable when the other variable changes. Yes, that is what the slope tells you. That is what the derivative tells you. Now understand, at this point, when I mark this point down to x-axis, let's say here x is equal to a. So at a, what is happening? When x is equal to a, I have multiple values for y. I have multiple values for y. When x is equal to a, I have multiple values for y. So even when the change in x is 0, the change in y is still there. It is still there. And what is derivative? If you remember, yesterday we did the difference quotient. In numerator, we write change in y, and in denominator, we write change in x. So change in x is 0. So what is this? Now what is happening? Because the change in x is 0, this derivative or this difference quotient is not defined. So derivative does not exist. Derivative does not exist. So very important to note down here is that in the case of vertical tangent, the derivative will not exist. Derivative exist ही नहीं करेगा. It is not going to exist at all. Okay? It will fail to exist. So very important point to note down here is derivative fails to exist. But on the other hand, when I talk about the case of horizontal tangent, it's one of the most important cases to study. So, at the point of horizontal tangent, at the point of horizontal tangent, function becomes constant. Function become constant. So it will become constant. You can see it here. यहाँ पे देखो function is becoming constant, isn't it? That is why I have a constant slope. Function becomes constant. So whenever a function will become constant, always you can see here, the function was going up, 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 it became constant and started decreasing. Then it came down, 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 became constant and started going up. So when function become constant, it will go from either increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. And hence, peak of the function will be achieved. So either the highest peak or the lowest peak. And because of this, you will either get a maximum value of the function, which we call as maxima, or minima for the function. Now, if you look at point B, so there is maximum value. At point C, you are achieving a minima value. Okay, you are achieving a minima value. So horizontal tangent पे what case is happening? The thing is that yes, x is changing. So you can see here that x is changing on x axis. देखो x change हो रहा है, x change हो रहा है, but there is no change in the value of y. There is no change. For all these multiple values of x, there is no change in value of y. So change in y is 0 in this case. But change in x is happening. So difference question क्या हो जाएगा? Change in y, which is 0 upon change in x. So ultimately 0. So at horizontal tangent, slope is 0. But at vertical tangent, slope is not defined. Slope is not defined. And here it is 0. So that's what you have to take from here. And as I've told you that if a function is not continuous, so your slope, if your function is not continuous, then your function is also not differentiable. So now let's proceed to learn how to find these derivatives. So first of all, if you have a function like this, if you have a power function, what do we say? Power function. What is power function? Y is equal to x raised to the power n. So what will be its derivative? Derivative क्या होगा इसका? Derivative will be n. The power comes in front n into x raised to the power n minus 1 into n into x raised to the power n minus 1. Now, if you have a function like this, y equals to, let's say, a x raised to the power n. So, what will be the derivative? Derivative will be a is in multiplication, so it will remain as it is into derivative of the function which is n into x n minus 1. But if you have, okay, if you have a constant number, y is equal to c, a constant number, so its derivative will be 0 because constant number is fixed. The constant number will not change and hence y will not change. Derivative की definition यही है, change in y due to change in x. The y is equal to a constant number. The y is never changing. So change in y is 0. Change in y is 0. So if I combine all these effects and my function is ax plus b raised to the power n, then what will be the derivative? Derivative will be n comes in front, ax plus bn minus 1, the power function rule into. Now I do. So what we do is first we do the derivative of entire function, then we do the derivative of each term inside that. Okay? So n into ax plus bn minus 1. Now it consists of ax plus b. Because when x will change, power function will change, but also ax is changing. So derivative of ax is a, but b ka derivative is 0. So ultimately I write n into a plus 0 is a. So a n into ax plus b raised to the power n minus 1. Raised to the power n minus 1. That's what I have here. Okay? That's what I have here. Now, when you have functions in, let's say, addition or subtraction, let's say you have function f of x plus minus g of x. How do we represent derivative? How do we represent derivative? Derivative को represent करते हैं, let's say y is equal to f of x था. So derivative is represented using y dash or dy by dx, which shows you derivative of y with respect to x, or you can also show f dash x. Okay, like this. So if you have two functions in addition or two functions in subtraction, the derivative is their individual derivative plus minus whatever it is, either plus or minus. So what I can do is, if I have two functions in add, so I do that derivative separately and I add it. So there is no effect basically. So for example, if I'm writing x square plus x cube, so I can do the derivative of x square, which is 2x, plus x cube ka derivative 3x square. I can do this clearly. Now let's take up examples next to each of the function we have done here. Let's take examples. So for this, let's say the function is x raised to the power 5. So derivative will be dy by dx will be 5x raised to the power 4. Now if I have a function like this, y equals to 7x cube. So dy by dx will be 7 as it is. X cube ka derivative is 3x square. So derivative is 21x square. Now if you have this, y equals to 5. So derivative is 0 because 5 to 5 hi rahega. Now if this is the next one, so okay, y equals to, let's say, 3x plus 2 raised to the power square, or let's say raised to the power 4. So you're going to get dy by dx as 4 into 3x plus 2 raised to the power 3 into derivative of 3x plus 2. That will be 3. So the answer is 12 into 3x plus 2 raised to the power 3. Now if I take the example, y equals to x square plus 5x, let's say. So dy by dx will be x square ka derivative 2x plus 5x ka derivative 5. So that's how we do it. I hope these are clear now. Yeah. But what if the functions are in multiplication or functions are in divide? How will I solve them? If the functions are in multiplication or in divide, how do I solve them? For the functions, when they are in multiplication, we use a product rule. So product rule is used when y is f of x into g of x, f of x into g of x. So what does this product rule has to say? Product rule says that okay, the derivative of y is then equal to, this is my first function, this is my second function, okay? So first function's derivative into second function as it is, plus second function derivative into first function as it is. So that is what it says. That is what it says. So let's take an example here. Let's say y is equal to x plus 2 raised to the power cube into 5x raised to the power 7. Now I cannot also open bracket and then multiply and then solve it. It will be a longer method. So what will be the derivative? First function derivative 3 into x plus 2 into square. X plus 2 ka derivative is 1 only. Second function as it is, plus second function derivative into first function as it is. So what am I going to get? 3 into 5, 15. X raised to the power 7 into x plus 2 raised to the power square, plus 35 x raised to the power 6 x plus 2 raised to the power 3. अब इसमें many times in MCQ the answers are not been complicated, they are given by taking the common out of that. तो इसमें से common क्या ले सकते हैं हम? What can I take common from here? 7 x raised to the power 6 can be taken common and x plus 2 square can be taken common. So what will be left? 7 आ गया, 7 नहीं 5 आएगा common because 15 की table 5. So what will be left? 3. 15 में से 5 is out. So 3 is left. X raised to the power 7 में से x6 is out. So x is only left. X plus 2 square entire is out. So I will not write anything. 35 में से 5 is taken out. So 7 left. X6 में से x6 out. X plus 2 cube में से x plus 2 square is out. So x plus 2 is left only. So if I simplify this, I will get 5x6 x plus 2 square. Now this is 3x plus 7x. So this is 10x plus 7 into 2, 14. So that's how you have to write and choose the correct option. ध्यान रखना, ठीक है? In exam. Now, after this we talk about quotient rule. We talk about quotient rule. Quotient rule is used when you have function as f of x divided by g of x. Again, this is considered as first function. This is considered as second function. ठीक है? तो how do I find derivative? Quotient rule. Y dash. So what do I do? सबसे पहले I will write a fraction as well. Second function as it is. Its square. ठीक है? In numerator. What I have done in product rule, I will use the same. I will only interchange plus the sign with negative. So f dash x gx minus g dash x fx. That's all what I have to do. And a square of denominator function in the denominator, again in the derivative. Okay? That's what I will be doing. Okay? So shall I give you one question? Will you quickly give me the answer to that? Y is equal to, let's say, x square 5x plus 7. Okay, tell me the answer to this. If this is your y, if this is your y, this is the older one, okay? ये product rule है above the green line. Quickly tell me if the function is y equals to 5x plus 7 divided by x square, what will be my derivative for the function? जल्दी से देखते हैं कौन सबसे पहले आंसर देता है. The student who will give right answer. Let's see who gives the right answer at the first place. जल्दी से. Waiting for your reply back. How many of you are enjoying these sessions? Acha, can I know, are you all students of Ecoholics or you're also coming from outside? So let's just have a little chit chat. May I please know my students today? Are you guys preparing? Have you started preparing for your IIT jam? So your PG economics exam? Have you already started that? Okay. Okay, Soumya. Good to know that. 5x square plus 4x divided by x raised to the power 4. Okay, we have one answer. Anyone else? Anyone else with the answer who has solved it? How are you guys finding these sessions? Do you think your willingness to prepare for maths has increased? थोड़ा मजा आ रहा है मैथ्स पढ़ने में मैथमेटिकल इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ने में हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर एंजॉयिंग स्टडिंग मैथमेटिकल इकोनॉमिक्स नाउ and you have to tell me what do you want me to teach next week because these are student teacher classes more or less over here. So whatever you tell me कि मैम ये टॉपिक नेक्स्ट वीक करवा दो किसी भी सब्जेक्ट से हो मैं वो करवाऊंगी. So just tell me what do you want me to take up next week. मुझे वो बताओ एक बार. You want me to take stats? You want me to take a topic of micro, macro? What do you want? So you can let me know, all those who are seeing this video maybe later on or not, even right now, you can tell me which lecture do you want me to take on the number 7880107880. Okay, I think my video will stop me to write the answer here. I'm writing the number again. 7880107880. This is the number. So you can text and let me know what do you want me to take up next week. I hope the yellow color is readable. Readable है? Now it must be. Okay, intricate things of statistics. It is very important and tough to find the conceptual things that come for the exam starts. Okay, no worries. I can teach you the concept. things. We can start with probability, I think, or we can start with ठीक है probability या फिर inferential statistics we can start as well. We can decide that. ठीक है. So let's see what is the correct answer. Let's see what is the correct answer which I asked you. Correct देखते हैं सबसे पहले. So derivative will be x raised to the power 4, 5x plus 7 का derivative 5, x square as it is minus x square का derivative is 2x and then 5x plus 7 as it is. So this will give me y dash as 5x square minus 10x square minus 14x raised to the power x 4. Then I should get minus 5x square minus 14x upon x raised to the power 4. This was the answer. 5x square plus 4x. Little corrections on me, I think. Please check where have you made the calculation mistake. देखो एक बार कहाँ पे कैलकुलेशन मिस्टेक की है. Because this will be the right answer. ठीक है. Now this is about product rule and question 2. ठीक, तो अभी we have learned some of the most important non-linear functions and their derivatives as well. अभी हमने क्या सीखा? Their derivatives and the functions for most important functions basically. ठीक है. Now let me take up one question which I brought for you all. A very important kind of question it is. एक बड़ा ही important question है ये. ठीक है, चलो let's just all right. Let's have a look here. This is the question I wanted to bring in this live session. Now, let's see this question. What is this question saying? This question is saying that the function x, the modulus function x into e raised to the power minus x defined on the real line. It is continuous but not differentiable at 0. Real line means minus infinity to infinity. Differentiable only at 0, differentiable everywhere, differentiable only at finitely many points. अब इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस में what do you have to do is something you should first understand. Every option is saying to check differentiability, लेकिन किस point पे check करें so that I come closer to my correct option. ठीक है, I come closer to my correct option. सबसे पहला डाउट तो है कि जीरो पे दे हैव टू चेक डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी एट जीरो, और यहाँ पे जीरो वाली ही डाउटफुल है. द जीरो वन differentiability is doubtful. Why is it doubtful? Because only at zero there can be a break. ठीक है, so I have to be very careful in this matter. अब now tell me one thing. E minus x is not a problem in this function. This function is made up of three parts. X into modulus x into e raised to the power minus x. ये, if you remember in one of the class I introduced you to logarithmic and exponential functions. So e minus x is not a problem. It's just that I have negative power of that. ठीक है, it is defined for that. For e minus x you have the values which are defined. तो वो दिक्कत नहीं है, वहां तक continuous function है actually e raised to the power minus x. The only problem is arising for x into modulus function x. ठीक है, how? देखो x into modulus function x. This function is equal to x square if x is a positive number. X positive होगा तो modulus of x will be positive, so x square आ गया. But if x is negative, तो x नेगेटिव इंटू नेगेटिव क्या आ जाएगा, माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर आ गया इफ एक्स इज स्ट्रिक्टली लेस देन जीरो, क्योंकि मॉड्यूलस फंक्शन से तो पॉजिटिव हो गया बट दिस एक्स विल बी नेगेटिव ना, तो माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर आ गया. तो नाउ आई जस्ट हैव टू सी. अब मुझे यहां से ये पता चल गया बिकॉज माई फंक्शन इज चेंजिंग व्हेन एक्स इज एट द पॉइंट जीरो, तो मुझे कंटिन्यूटी और डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी बोथ आई हैव टू चेक एट जीरो. If the function is differentiable and continuous at zero, so my job will be done. Up I'm checking for differentiability directly. How do we check differentiability? We say limit h approaches zero, difference quotient f of x plus h minus f of x upon h. What is this? This is basically the derivative. The difference quotient is what? This is the derivative only. So I can simply, instead of taking the difference quotient, I can simply take derivative of function and find limit to that. Isn't that easy? Oops. Isn't that easy? So let me do that. Let me do that. सबसे पहले we will talk about left hand side derivative. Left hand side means the area to the left of zero, which means x is negative. What is the derivative of minus x square? Minus 2x. Now when x approaches 0, this limit will be 0. Similarly, right hand side derivative क्या होगा? X square का derivative is 2x. Now when x approaches 0, 2x is again 0. So this function is differentiable at 0. अब अगर it is differentiable तो continuous भी होगा. So this option is completely wrong. Now it is saying differentiable only at 0. अब देखो, बिफोर जीरो एंड आफ्टर जीरो इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज आफ्टर जीरो एक्स स्क्वायर इज नथिंग बट एक्स स्क्वायर इज जस्ट अ फंक्शन, a polynomial function. And I told you in the limits and continuity lecture that polynomial functions are always continuous for the domain. Minus x square is also polynomial function. For x less than 0 continuous होगा. The doubt was only at 0. So that is why we cannot say कि only at 0 आएगा. So this is also cancelled. But only at finitely many points. ये भी B और D तो दोनों ही गलत हो गए. So the only correct option is C. That is differentiable everywhere. तो ये function मेरा क्या हो गया? Differentiable हो गया. Because I was doubtful only at 0. आगे पीछे तो I know it is differentiable. So it is differentiable everywhere. Okay? That's how you will have to solve questions of differentiability. ऐसे ही solve करने हैं. ठीक है, ऐसे ही सॉल्व करने हैं क्वेश्चंस. ओके, नाउ आई एम लीविंग यू विद वन होमवर्क. ओके, आई एम लीविंग यू विद वन होमवर्क. एक होमवर्क सब लोग करके लाएंगे. यू विल चेक फॉर द फंक्शन y इक्वल्स टू x इनटू e raised to the power 1 by x minus 1 upon e raised to the power 1 by x plus 1. Here x is not equal to 0, and if x is 0 so f0 is also 0. That's how we take the value. So is this function continuous? Is this function continuous? And check for differentiability as well. Check for differentiability as well. डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी के लिए भी चेक करना. आई वांट टू नो. अब कहाँ पे चेक करोगे? एनीवन इन द कमेंट सेक्शन? कोई बताएगा मुझे कहाँ पे चेक की जाएगी डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी? इट नीड्स टू बी चेक्ड एट x इक्वल्स टू 0, क्योंकि वहीं पे मेरा फंक्शन, दिस फंक्शन इज नॉट डिफाइंड फॉर दैट, तो वहीं पे आई विल चेक. ठीक है, तो you will you be doing this homework? So today what we have learned how to find derivative. We learned the application of derivative. We learned horizontal tangent, vertical tangent. We did a question to check the differentiability. So with this we now know how to tackle questions related to differentiability. Of course this unit is very long, right? ये यूनिट लॉन्गर है, इसमें बहुत प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी क्वेश्चंस की, बहुत ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी क्वेश्चंस की. तो कीप डूइंग दैट प्रैक्टिस. अभी तो देयर आर मोर थिंग्स इन दिस यूनिट एज वेल, लाइक ऑप्टिमाइजेशन करना है. मेन वी हैव डन डिफरेंशिएबिलिटी, Differentiability में optimization have to be done after that, and maxima minima. So that's how you need to do questions. So this is something, an assignment for my students. So that's how you need to solve questions. प्रैक्टिस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इन मैथमेटिकल इकोनॉमिक्स. ठीक है. So that's it for today's session. If you want me to take any special sessions next week, please let me know on this number. Whatever suggestions you have for me, so let me know on this number. You can text on this number that ma'am, please teach this topic. So whoever will first text, uska topic next week liya jayega. So we will line up your topics according to the time you message us. ठीक है. चलो. So that's it for today's live session. I hope you have learned it. अब question solve करने में थोड़ा confidence आएगा. If you need more help from my side, differentiation के कोई notes चाहिए या कुछ भी चाहिए, तो please let me know. I will be happy to help you. Okay? चलो. All right. Bye bye. Bye everyone.